If this video pushes you to become 1% better today, subscribe because I upload powerful motivational speeches every week.
I'm really good about being accountable about, okay, you need to be better here, you need to be better here, you need to overcome this, overcome that, and I do a good job of doing that.
You talk about performance without a purpose. What's that?
So, like, for instance, let's say you have no races. Let's say you have no classes, no nothing. There's no purpose in your life. You know, people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K. There's no I'm going to get into school to be this or that and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's going to come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I need. So the reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school, or there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself. And discipline is good too. But without a clear headspace, there's no discipline.
What do you mean?
So let's say we have a circuit breaker, okay? And I'm loading everything up to one circuit. Just load it up. It's gonna blow. And once that thing blows, man, the circuit's all up. You gotta have each thing plugged into the right spot, like a crowded garage. You can't put anything in it. Once your brain is crowded, discipline is great, motivation is great. But if you can't fit in your brain because it's all cluttered with there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline. So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside of only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. Many people, but don't make dreams your fucking master. But I was able to dream outside those four walls of that small town. And until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become.
What do you mean, don't make dreams your master?
A lot of people sit back and they dream about being a sports figure, or dream about being a SEAL, or dream about being an astronaut, and all it is a dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. That dream has become their master. When you become the master of your dream is when you say, I want to go be a Navy SEAL, and you say, okay, I'm going to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. The dream was the one thing I thought about, and the dream was not gone. Now, what comes in, the dream goes away, and the laundry list of details and tasks come up. Gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. That's when you become the master of your dream. So a lot of people out there dreaming, because when I grew up, my mom worked 3 jobs, and all I wanted to do, and she got her damn near murdered. And it took her down a dark hole. And I saw this. That helped me grow up to say, all I want to do is retire my mother when I get older. That's all I want to do. And thank God I did that. But the thing about it, with a lot of people, they don't have that in them. The parents raise the kids very differently now. So the kids don't have that sense of self. And I believe in self-discipline, self-pride, self-motivation. No one has that self anymore. That self is gone. So that driving force that tells you, I have to do this. Most people fail those 1 seconds. And then that 1 second leads to 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of. I have people who have been through training with me, Ranger School, SEAL training, Air Force training, and I get calls from them today, and they have great lives. And all they talk about is how they failed in that one moment. And they can't even enjoy their life now because they're now warm. They're now warm. There's no more suffering. There's no more suffering for me either. And we're in the same boat now. But you're suffering, so we're not suffering, but you're thinking about what you could have been. I am exactly what I should have been. And that's where people start to lose it. Because now I realize that in that 1 second. I go through all that. I know how it's going to feel because I failed so many times before. Failure is the ultimate thing, man. I failed so many times before. That's why I don't look at failure anymore as failure. I look at it as my first, second, and third attempt. So that's what that's all about, man. Like, people think that the races I did in the military broke me. I was broken way before then. Numerous health problems before I even got in the military.
Really?
Numerous. I'm talking about, like, you're talking about like sickle cell.
Yeah, I remember that.
Twisted body from all the stress I was under as a kid. There's a lot of different problems. Thyroid issue, adrenal issues, all kind of shit.
That you had when you were young?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then they got magnified as I got older. So I would go to the start line of a race, like Badwater, the 135-mile race to Death Valley. No one knows this. But if you go back, and there's videos of me out there, Google David Goggins' first video, or first Badwater race, you will see black compression tape on my ankles. I had broken feet at the start line of a 135-mile race.
Your feet were broken?
Broken. And if you go back, you will see as I'm finishing the race, you will see this black compression tape floating behind me. I went to the start line of that race. I trained for that race with broken feet. And I don't talk about a lot because what happens is normal people with normal minds can't understand that. So then you become a liar, this and that. But now I got to the point in my life where I'm like, you go yourself, dude. If you don't believe it, go ahead. But I don't talk about a lot because I know what I've done and I know what the mind can do and where it can take you. I've experienced it over and over, and my mom has seen it over and over and over again, to the point where it's almost like I can't even believe sometimes, but I'm willing to go there. I want to push myself to that limit and see what happens. They have already put their cap on their success in life. And that's why most people aren't sitting where you're sitting or sitting where I'm sitting. You never capped yourself. You might have, and if you did, you took it off. People cap themselves. They look at somebody, and because their mind can't imagine it, they then start talking shit. He has to be doing this, or he has to be doing that. There has to be some trick. There has to be some potion. This is bull. No, it's because you cannot allow your mind to open up for the possibility of it can be done, which is why you being people are where they are today. Because you've shackled your mind to have limits.
Wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no cartilage in your knee, you've got shitty shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today.
Keep talking.
You've got these problems, right?
I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch.
That's
Your
it.
missus says stay in
That's
bed.
it.
It's comfy,
That's
it's
it.
cozy.
That's
You've got
it.
work later on. You had an argument last night. You're slightly
it.
hungover.
I know ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. So this is how you live. That's how you live. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study, refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. I was the same way. And that used to hurt me growing up. Now I thrive in that. That's the only place to be.
I keep thinking to myself like, okay, well, if I was gonna get killed, or Layla was gonna get killed, or people I cared about were going to die if I didn't come up with another solution, or if I made the thing that I wanted to have happen, what other things would I do? And usually it's a lot more. Whatever way you have to unlock that level of trying, that level of effort, like most things are hilariously easy to do. It's just more easy. It's easier to just do nothing. Most people do nothing and get nothing and are dissatisfied because their expectations that they would get something for that nothing of work. What's crazy is that the highest levels of effort are so rare amongst people that you can unlock most things in the universe by just really trying like your life depends on it. Because it does. Most of the time we know what we're supposed to do, we just have trouble doing it. Like you know what you need to do to get a six-pack. You know what you need to do to build muscle. People already know this. Like you don't need to know anything about training to do that. You just stop eating crap, maybe eat some protein, and add more weight to the bar over an extended period of time. That's it. That's all it is. You know that already. And yet you haven't begun because you haven't really tried. Like it's hilarious to me. It's apparently rarer to have a six-pack above age like 30 than it is to be a millionaire. If you want to achieve a goal, you're either gonna have to accept boredom or pain. And the bigger the goal, the more of both you'll get. When I started my gym, I actually lived with 6 other people in one house. The thing is like, I was doing that when I was making like 20 grand a month take home. There's always trade-offs. And the trade-off for me of living in that condition was that I could invest in the dream and build the business that I had at the time. Now I could look back because I ended up losing everything, a few years later. You get this negative cycle of like, all of that suffering was for nothing. But it wasn't for nothing because I learned all these skills along the way. You also can't operate from the perspective of like, I might lose it all in the future, which means everything that I do today is not worth anything. Because like, you're gonna lose 100% of everything the moment you die. So trying to say that you might lose something in the future is a reason not to do something is ridiculous. You're gonna lose everything at some point. You cannot wish for both strong character and an easy life because the price of one is the other. When I think about pain, I think about what thing am I paying for right now? And is that thing something that I want? And if so, it reframes the pain as the price of the thing that I want.
One of the things for people who are not where they want to be is that they have pain, like oodles of pain. And I remember when I was starting out, I was looking for passion. I was looking for purpose. I was like, I just want to find something that I'm motivated by. But it's the cat and the cheese. It's like we're looking for cheese, but we have all these cat behind us, and all we have to do is look and remember that they're behind us and chasing us. And so if you have the cat and you're staying in your current situation, you're being used by the cat, right? You're being used by the business owner who, it doesn't treat you well and is, and you're in this job that you don't really want to be in, right? Or you're being used by the situation or the context of the relationship that you're in with the girl that you're like not that into, right? Versus saying like, this is terrible. And because of this terribleness, I now have something that I can run away from. And then like, rather than not looking at the knife or trying to take painkillers to not feel the pain, it's like completely sobering up, taking the knife and twisting it in your own heart and being like, I'm going to fucking do something about this. And I think that's what the heroes, like if we're heroes in our own story, it's not avoiding pain, it's choosing from the very beginning, the alchemy, which is like, you have these terrible situations. It's like, and you have the opportunity to turn them into magic and skip or shortcut all the growth you're going to have in a really short period of time simply by twisting the knife and being like, I'm going to do something about it. that there's always an advantage and a disadvantage from every position, right? So like I remember Gym Launch is still a big company and still continues to grow, but in the gym licensing space, there's not many people who can compete with us there. Right? And I would talk to guys who were in the space, I would talk at a conference, whatever. And, younger guys would be like, well, I want to be in this space too. And it's not fair because, you have this big advantage. And I was like, you have a way bigger advantage than I do. I was like, because if I were in your position, I would go to every single gym owner and be like, you don't want to be with Gym Launch. You want to be with Alex. You're just a number to him. Like, you're never going to talk to him. Like, you're just a cog in the wheel there. With me, you're going to get my personalized attention. There is just some employee down the chain that's following some process, right? I was like, but on the flip side, if I'm talking to that same gym owner, then I'm going to say, you don't want to talk to Jimmy. He lives in his mom's basement. He has no proof that he's good at what he's at. The reason that we're number one in the space is because we've done it so many times and we have a system that we know that if you go on this side, you will get this result on the outside. I was like, there's always a position and there's always an advantage. I was like, you just have to play the one you've got. And most people just look at what everyone else's advantage is and don't think, which one do I have? That there's always an advantage and a disadvantage from every position, right? So like I remember Gym Launch is still a big company and still continues to grow, but in the gym licensing space, there's not many people who can compete with us there, right? And I would talk to guys who were in the space, I would talk at a conference, whatever. And, younger guys would be like, well, I want to be in this space too. And it's not fair because, you have this big advantage. And I was like, you have a way bigger advantage than I do. I was like, because if I were in your position, I would go to every single gym owner and be like, you don't want to be with Gym Launch. You don't want to be with Alex. You're just a number to him. Like, you're never going to talk to him. Like, you're just a cog in the wheel there. With me, you're going to get my personalized attention. There is just some employee down the chain that's following some process, right? I was like, but on the flip side, if I'm talking to that same gym owner, then I'm going to say, you don't want to talk to Jimmy. He lives in his mom's basement. He has no proof that he's good at what he's at. The reason that we're number one in the space is because we've done it so many times and we have a system that we know that if you go on this side, you will get this result on the outside. I was like, there's always a position and there's always an advantage. I was like, you just have to play the one you've got. And most people just look at what everyone else's advantage is and don't think, which one do I have?
A lot of the suffering that we have to endure, we actually only remember as a moment, even though it may have lasted hours and days and months. There's just these highlight reels or these reverse highlight miserable moments that we remember. And so I think a lot about the concept of moments because we actually don't remember most of our lives, which is like very wild to consider. Like most of our lives are not recorded and we don't remember it. It just vanishes into nothing. All we have are these discrete moments that we just choose to ascribe to memory. That means that in the moment when something's good, I can think to myself, remember this. Try and demarcate this moment. And equally opposite, if something is bad, I can just be like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna compress this one, right? Like I'm gonna choose to just be like, you know what, it was a brief moment when it might have been a month of just absolute misery.
Most of the pain that people experience is purely in their own minds. Experts, some of the biggest reinforcers I've had in my life has been future casting the story that I would tell about the shitty period that I was in. Like I remember when I was sleeping on the floor at my gym because I didn't have enough money for 2 rents. And I was like, I will fucking tell this story. And when I lost everything for the first time, I have the screenshot of the bank account. Like when I show it, people are like, oh, look, there's that thing. But they forget that there was a person who screenshotted it to be like, this won't fucking happen again. And I think having a larger narrative of where you're ultimately going, one, gives you the vision of where you're knows where he's going, but it allows the dragons that you have to slay along the way, the hard things that you have to overcome, to feed into the larger narrative of the story that you'll someday tell. And so like no one ever tells stories about the hero who made it all happen immediately and had no hardships. No one cares, right? Like, okay, you were born to a billionaire. Is there a story there? Not really. But everyone loves the story because we can see ourselves in the character and how much we hope to be like them. And it's the being like them, not the having what they have, that we usually like. And so reframing ourselves as the hero of that narrative in my harder times was what really got me through that, and thinking, I will tell this story someday.
One of the wildest questions that I read that kind of stuck with me was like, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And I think that's just such a powerful question to ask, because every person has the fear is the thing that gives you the 100 reasons. And what's really interesting about this is that our brains are exceptionally good at finding problems, which is why I'm a big fan of inverted thinking. So how can I think about all the ways to kill my business and then do the opposite? Your brain is so much better at spotting problems than spotting opportunities. And so it's like, use that problem finding thing and then just flip it. And it sounds like, oh, well, I would just think of the opportunities that way. It's like, it doesn't actually work. You actually have to think for the threats and then flip them. Winners write history. But here's the cool part. is that if you win and when you win, you get to have a revisionist history of your own life. Like you can basically rewrite your own history so that you can make it whatever you want.
There's this line that I heard David Goggins say in David Goggins' bit. I remember him saying it, and I thought to myself, like, you want to be able to say that in the mirror to yourself and not laugh at yourself. Mm-hmm. And the only way that I can do that is know that when no one's watching, I work harder than when they're watching. And thinking about it like that has given me this persistent and ever-present scorecard or third party that's like, no one's watching, which means now you have to work because otherwise you're full of shit.
One of the easiest ways to have more money is to work more hours. And you're like, how is that possible? Well, when you work more hours, it actually kills two birds. One is that you actually make more money when you work more hours. But on top of that, you don't spend money because you have less time to spend it. And so every hour of work is a net positive in two directions. So it saves you money you're not spending and makes you money. And so you want to find those little twists that you can make in your investments of time and money that are outsized. It's not just that you gain, you also stop the loss. I've always been willing to bet big on me. And so a lot of you guys are trying to like bet big on Dogecoin or some meme thing or like some get rich quick. And I promise you, the guys who have all the money know how to do it better than you. And if you have your last $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 that you're like, what do I do with it? Bet on you, because you'll never sell you. You're a long-term hold, right? And so if you get better, you guarantee the win. And every investment you make compounds. You guarantee compounding because every skill stacks on top of other skills.
So how do we become someone with certain traits? Well, contrary to popular opinion and the Instagram people, I don't think it has to do with becoming at all. So when we describe who someone is, what do? We describe how they behave and what they do. Being and identities become descriptions of what we do. And so, little Aristotle, little ancient Greek, we are what we repeatedly do.
If life is a long journey of self-acceptance, I think the earlier you can accept your own peculiarities as just part of you, rather than trying to justify them or mold to the archetype that you think is acceptable within your social circle. At least for me, like there's this period of discomfort when you change anything because everyone around you wants you to fit within the label that they are comfortable with.
But they also have the anchor of what you were before.
Yeah, exactly. And so they try and like, people don't like that. And so they're like, no, I like you in this box. So just say, I know you're having a little thing right now. Don't worry, and they just want to shove you back into it. And there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations that you have to have where it becomes really socially awkward. And so like I said one the other day about like going home for the holidays, and the reason I don't like doing it is because often I have to confront a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time, and they'll speak to me in a way that I don't like. And before that, I would roll it off like whatever, no big deal. But I don't accept that. When you're growing in a business, it's very painful. When you're stagnating in a business and you're plateaued and you don't know what to do, it's very painful. When you're declining and you also don't know what to do, it's very painful. And so that means that all conditions of reality are painful. And so if pain is a prerequisite for reality, then it means it's just a signal that we are alive. And so in thinking about that, rather than pain as a problem, it is a signal that I'm breathing, and then becomes irrelevant.
Connections, money, looks, intelligence, those are all great. But you can beat someone with all of those things if they have only one trait, an insatiable desire to improve. No matter where they start, it's hard to beat someone who improves every second of every day without giving up. And this is why earlier I said ambitious people buy skills, and they pay for those skills with time and money. And in order to have the time and money to invest in those skills, they have to take them from somewhere else. Because the thing is that your resources are zero sum. And this is something that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. Whatever you choose to spend your time on, you take from something else. Whatever you choose to spend your money on, you take from something else. And so most people don't have a resources issue, they have a priorities problem. You are choosing to say that other things are more important. And hey, I want to be real. If that stuff is more important to you, then amazing. You won at life. Congratulations. But if you don't have what you want and you're spending money to proliferate a life that is not the one you want to lead, then you need to shift the list to invest the time and money and pull from those things that you don't want to put more in the ones you do.
There was a guy, friend of a friend, successful entrepreneur, and he got really bad cancer. Like super bad, really, really fast, right? And I think he lost his like trachea and some other stuff, and they thought he was going to die. And he was telling my friend, he was like, "Man, so grateful." And it was like you'd think it was like the whole I see life a different way now. It wasn't that. It was while he was going through it. And his reasoning was, how cool is it that I get to live this part of the human experience? He's like, so many people don't get to live this. Like, I get to know what it's like to have cancer. Like, so many people live their whole lives and then die not knowing what cancer was like. I get to know that. And I just thought about that. It's like a very interesting frame. It's like whether it's bankruptcy, going to jail, like even the depths of human suffering. And some people who are still going through that trauma, I'm not saying that, like, I'm not justifying it. It's just a frame on like, being human is the rainy and the sunny days. Like you can't skip life. And so I think like embracing the totality of the experience can give you gratitude for what feels locally like a low point. But most of the defining moments in our life, broken leg, then he doesn't have to go to war, right? When you expand the time horizon, those are the things that create us.
The bigger your goals, the more pain you're going to endure, whether you want to or not. It's the price. And if you can endure 4 times more pain than someone else, I don't actually think that it feels 4 times more painful. I think it feels the same level of pain, but you have this padding that makes it feel worth it. Give a man a purpose and the ability to achieve it, and he will crawl over broken glass with a smile. That broken glass, like how can you have a smile during the pain? It's because of what the pain itself represents.
Champions are broken. I was like, huh. He's like, people look at champions and try and find something that champion has that they don't have. And he's like, but it's not that at all. He's like, they lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop. And at the end of the day, like, if we're optimizing for outcomes, then the most broken person will win. The person who has the absolute biggest, desire for achievement, the absolute biggest fear or pain that they're running away from, and the hardest impulse control. Now, impulse control, most people would agree is a good thing. The other two, not as much. And so, what are we optimizing for? What problem are we solving? It's my favorite. It's probably the number one most frequently asked question that I ask to our portfolio companies whenever we're about to do anything, which is what problem are we solving? If the problem that we're solving is that I want to be content, well, there's a lot of ways to do that, and you don't need to do all these other things. If the problem you're solving is that you want to be the richest man in the world, well, you're going to have a lot of superiority complex, you're going to have a lot of crippling insecurity, and you're going to have a lot of impulse control, and you're going to have to wait a long time.
We live inside of prisons of our own making based on our belief system. And so if you want to change your life, you have to change your belief system. The belief system is just a different way of saying things that you know or believe to be true. These are just the facts that you live on. Now, the thing is we can't double check every single thing that we believe because we can't. It would take too long, right? As a human being, every single thing you had to fact check. So the vast majority of the things that we believe and take as true were just given to us by other people. It's what I find very interesting about this is that we are so hesitant to question our beliefs when in reality, almost none of our beliefs are our own. They're not yours. They're someone else's.
I think what a lot of people don't get, myself included when I was earlier starting, is people don't get the amount of volume that it takes to be successful, right? Like, I'll tell you, I had a different conversation the other day. So, good friend of mine, very successful, and like to the B level successful, right? And so he had a conversation with me. He's wanted to start building a personal brand just because he wants to give back, and he was like, dude, why? He's like, your stuff just crushes me. Like, what am I doing wrong here? And I gave him a couple tips, and then he was like, well, how much content are you guys putting out a week? And I was like, I think we're at like 350 pieces a week. And he just like, he looked at me and he was like, thank you for resetting my minimum standard. And because he's an experienced entrepreneur. And so he could immediately translate that into what he needed to hear, because he was like, me with my one a day. He's like, I think it's significantly less reasonable that I expect to have your outcome with 1/30th of the level of volume that you're putting out. I had a mentor way back when I was starting my gyms, and he was like, yeah, we do flyers. That's how we get customers. So I was like, okay, so I'll do some of those. He said, you should try that. So,
print out 300 flyers, and advertising was expensive and I was broke, and so 300 was the appropriate amount of advertising that I could stomach. And so we put out 300 flyers and I waited, and then the next day I got a call. I was real excited, and as soon as I picked up the phone, I was like, oh hey, it's like, I got one of your flyers. I was so excited. And he says, yeah, you dinged my Mercedes. And I just immediately panicked and hung up the phone. I didn't even say anything. Thankfully, he never called back, but that was the only call I got from my 300 flyers. And so I called the mentor back, and I was like, hey, you told me to do, think, a decade plus ago, and way more entitlement. I was like, hey, you told me this was gonna work, right? And he didn't even respond to that. He was like, well, how many did you put out for your test size? And I was like, what do you mean by test size? He's like, well, what was the first batch that you tested on so that you could then scale it? And I was like, well, I put out 300 in total. And he just started laughing. And I was like, why? I'm having this very serious moment. You know what I mean? I was like, what are you laughing at? He's like, hard to know if anything works with 300. He's like, well, we tested 5,000. He's like, and then if we get 0.5% back, he's like, then we're okay. 1%, I'm scaling to the moon. 1.5%, he's like, I'm singing praises. He's like, if you had 0.5% on that, he's like, you'd get 1.5 people. He's like, and that's tough to see with 300. Can't really know if anything's working. And I remember thinking that moment, like, I might have been doing the right thing, but I was not doing nearly enough. And I think that there's a lot of early on, and like, I think that story can apply to a lot of things, to early entrepreneurship. Is like, we can get disheartened by our first month of making content that we haven't made money yet from it. But it's like, not that you're doing the wrong thing, you just might not have been doing it either long enough or enough of it, which time is really just also a proxy for doing enough of it. Whenever I'm like complaining about something, one of the common things he'll ask me back is like, well, who do you want to be? And I'll be like, well, I want to be like this. And he's like, do you think that person would not go through hard times? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, it sounds like you're wishing for the outcome but not willing to pay the price. He's like, are you willing to pay the price? And I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, and this is what paying the price feels like. Embrace it. Because these will be the stories you tell.